Yep. The operative word for this week's batch of review cars, just so happens to be this way, is certainly special. I got to drive a couple of AMs, and I had a Colorado ZR2, and this thing, a 2020 Mercedes-AMG C63S, which I would argue is the most iconic, most important, relevant, desirable even, of AMG's current batch of cars. Now hear me out. Yes, the GT, specifically the coupe, has its roots in the SLS and the SLR, but even so, the E63S is more AMG to me. I mean, look, almost exactly 25 years ago, the E50 AMG was unveiled, and it put AMG on the map. However, most Mercedes-Benz fans and AMG fans know about the 190e 2.3 16 valve and the various versions that came out after that. It hit the road running and screaming back in 1983. And this car is its spiritual successor. That is why I think this is the real AMG, the true AMG car. And it's been getting an enormous amount of attention. I mean, yes, you hear it coming even without using or activating the AMG Sport exhaust, but it's just a C-Class sedan. Just quick anecdote. My brother's a real estate agent, and I swear, even he will tell me that 1 out of 3 of those agents all drive a C-Class. So it's a very common car, but this one is not. But at a quick glance, it looks just like a regular C300, for example. Anyhow, speaking of C300 4MATIC in Canada, it starts at $46,400. In the US, C300 without 4MATIC, $41,400 with $43,400. There are a number of trims in the C-Class, obviously. C43, C63, and this one, the ultimate super-powered C63S. In Canada, it is priced at $84,400. In the US, $75,700. So what do you get for that kind of money? Well, tailpipes, wheels, twin turbo, hand-built V8. Okay, I kid. But I mean, it's all the AMG Go Fast bits rolled into this. Now my car, this tester, the one you're looking at right now, is a little bit pricier than that, as you might imagine. It has a few options. One being, well, everything. Tailpipes included is black. So that means it has the night package. It's got the black 19-inch wheels, which are like faux knockoff two-piece wheels, which are fantastic. The obsidian paint job, and it's also got a bunch of options inside. If you take the tech pack, which gives you the 12.3-inch IP, you also get, or you have to take the premium package, which gives you the 10.25 central display, which combined are beautiful. It's got the carbon wheel and carbon interior trim, all said, all done, $101,000. Yes, my friends, a $101,000. Well, it's not just a regular C-Class, obviously. Let's just take a look at those wheels. Those are your brakes that you get with the AMG. Tiny little things, ain't they? It rained once. I swear it rained only once. Anyway, yeah, you get a power trunk release for some reason. 455 liters. This is fairly pointless. And yeah, you got to press the button to get it closed. Otherwise, it gets all flustered and weird. Stupid things. Surprisingly roomy for a compact, large, mid-sized car. Ingress and egress is nice. Burmeister audio, beautiful. Lots of leg room. You can sit 3 across. Headroom is decent. And here's the important stuff. There's that carbon steering wheel. Oops. It is ridiculous. It looks like it comes right out of a GTR. You can see the 10.25 inch. Where am I? Yeah, there it is. And the 12.3 inch IP. And you can also get a good look at the carbon interior trim. Let's get up front. Now this one, my car, this Tester, does not have the AMG Super Sport seats, but these are just pretty damn good enough, if you ask me. Fit and finish, obviously. Benz figured that out decades ago. All right, so that's a good look at that. Kind of like that. It looks like a fan, like a turbochargers. Well, anyway, impeller. That's what I was looking for. Very lovely instruments. Lovely 10.25 inch. It's not touch sensitive, so you got to go down here to the controller. You select your home, and there's your menu. Apple CarPlay is included, Android Auto, and a number of other stuff. So where do I start? Let's move the cable here. So here's your AMG drive mode dynamic select thing. This is for your transmission to set it up in manual. That's pretty self-explanatory. Your dampers, that's the Hoon button. This is the other Hoon button, your volume button. HVAC, very straightforward. Here's your hard buttons for your menus. On the steering wheel, you have redundant controls. So here you have your dampers, your transmission, and your drive modes, of which there are a huge amount. And that one right there is my favorite, because you can configure this car as aggressive as you want it, or as soft as you want it, or a combination of any of the above. So there you go, slippery, sport. And yes, my friends, there's a race mode, which I would love to find out more about. Suffice it to say, this is a viable mode, but this, you can just set your AMG Performance exhaust on all the time and enjoy that. Anyhow, you know what? I'm not even going to get out. I'm going to put my belt on, and we're going for a spin now. So, yeah, the heart of the beast. The Hutton V twin turbocharged, or as Benz calls it, or AMG, sorry, bi-turbo, handcrafted 4-liter engine, which puts out 503 horsepower from 5,500 RPM to 6,250, and 516 pound-feet of torque from 2,000 to 4,500 RPM. And that kind of gives you a hint as to how relentless and how impactful forward momentum in this car is. What's probably second most amazing thing, other than the sheer power and force produced by this engine, is feeling the ELSD in the back kind of work out how quickly it has to lock everything up in order to prevent like a solid black line of melted rubber. When the car squats, anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. This thing it's so violent. And if you want that sort of thing, few cars, I mean, I've obviously not driven the new M3 and M4. I suspect they will be excessively violent too. But compared to an RS car from Audi and the previous M's, this thing is on a scary plane. The other ones are obviously ridiculously powerful, and yes, will make you swallow your tongue if you're not careful when you put the hammer down. But there's something about this car which it can't be dialed back. And that's kind of one thing I drove just recently, one of the very special cars I drove this week was an Aston Martin Vantage, and they share the same engine. And although they're very, very close, I think this one, I mean, I've driven them back to back, and the kick in the pants is ridiculously hard in both cases. But this one, it's insane. If you want to avoid taking off from a stoplight or a stop sign, a traffic light I should say, and you want it to be smooth and progressive, you have to be in comfort, or at least the drive component has to be in comfort. Otherwise, the slightest amount of pressure on the throttle sends you shooting forward. Now this has a standard 9-speed AMG speed shift MCT transmission, which is a multi-clutch setup, which it works fantastically well. Once it actually handles the power, it does glide from gear to gear. But sometimes, right there, the 1 to 2 is never, ever progressively smooth. It's always sharp, and sometimes, I mean, you can almost imagine in winter, for the 1-2 shift, even with less than mild throttle pressure, that the rear wheels will spin. And that's to me, I mean, however addictive the power is, I can't see it as being pleasurable in the long run. I mean, yes, obviously, if you're going to track this car and do it justice and do the AMG engineers justice, you absolutely have to. But if you just bought it because you had $100,000 burning a hole in your pocket, it could become a bit much. And what doesn't help is the chassis tune. Everything is AMG, right? The adaptive damping, the 3-stage setup with the Sport Plus, and the comfort. It's just one hair too sharp. The amount of initial comfort damping, relax, is just shy of being good. It's acceptable. So you can imagine that on a rough road, it can get jarring fairly quickly. This car is always, relax. I hate those systems. Oh my God. This car is dialed at 10 out of the box, or just about. And it, call me old once again, it can become a bit much. And the only way to manage that is by leaving the drive mode in comfort. The moment you go into your individual, or worse, sport, it's just not entirely fun. I don't know. This car is exceptionally, ridiculously fast. It is endearing, intoxicating, invigorating. So fast, so loud, so sharp, so capable. And unless you live near the Autobahn, or like I said, you're gonna track this thing, you see, it was a little crashy there. And I'm in sport. All right, I take that back. I'm gonna go back to comfort. Actually, no, individual, so I have my dampers in comfort. Still, it remains a little bit crashy. I mean, the handling is ridiculous. The big grippy Michelin tires will give you more grip than you can possibly know what to do with. You'll scare yourself, obviously. And if you dare to go into track mode or take the hoon button off, you'll soil your pants. So illegal. Oh my goodness. Thankfully, the massive brakes and enormous calipers scrub speed off this thing really fast. Brake pedal feel is good. Good response, very limited travel, just enough to get you to roll into the pedal with confidence and give it just a little bit more pressure when you feel like you need to, like I just did right now. I absolutely adore this car. I would never get it black, which by the way is interesting because in the US you only get a handful of colors. In Canada you get more colors, including a red, various other shades of silver and other stuff. I think that's pretty cool on behalf of M-Benz. What is coolest, however, and the two flaws on this car, the tailpipes, faux tailpipes, and the fact that you can't get it as a wagon. Those are two reasons, on top of the fact that this thing is just too sharp, too excited, too jazzed up on a constant, sustained basis. I would get a C43 wagon and very much enjoy my 385 horsepower, 384 pound-feet of torque, and one of the sexiest cars you can buy in Canada today. Again, I love this car. Absolutely love it. But give me that C43.